Hi everybody, it's giving. We have the shortest episode today because when we speak about this topic, we don't need to loud it because God got us covered. Grace, grace, grace. This is my story. There are some points in our life where we just see God manifest Himself as who He is. I don't know. When I talk about God, it feels like I'm talking about somebody I'm very much in love with. But yes, I'm actually in love with God. And before we get right into it. Hello, guys. You are welcome to another exciting episode on Experience with Luchi podcast. Either way, or podcast. Don't forget that this podcast is a platform for you to be expressive and a reality check. I'm your host with the most Luchi Gloria, and I'm super excited for this topic. I titled today's topic "Grace." It speaks louder than the loudest voice. So, when we speak about grace, like I said, we don't have much to talk about. We are just here to remind you of those times where you felt like you don't deserve something, and God just says, "Hold my beer." There are many points in my life where I have had that phase that there are some things I just they do say, God, how what you explain, like come through, and he just does a very little thing, and you just see everything begins to fall into place. Somebody said that you should not tell yourself what grace has not said you are. There's just something about grace. People ask, have you encountered grace in your life? And I will always say, I have over and over again. I think the only point in my life where I felt like grace has not shown. I don't even know if there's any point in my life, because even when I was going through the hardest time in my life, grace came through, because if not my own power, if not my own strength, I don't know where I would have been by this point. It's grace that speaks for me. Even when I am in my darkest point, God just has a way of making me shine through those dark times. He has a way of making me shine through those tough times. And when I speak about God, I'm really, really excited. I'm really humbled to be part of the people that believe in who this God is. So grace speaks louder than the loudest voice in the room. Even when you are not even doing too much, God just comes and say, hold my cup. He comes and fights the unseen and seen battles for you. And you just see everything coming into place in your life. Grace is that thing that will make people who have mocked you, who have said you are not going to be what God said you will be. Grace just has a way of positioning you in places and structures that would just allow things to begin to align for you. Grace, that is what I'm here to talk about today. And of course, something would obviously prompt this topic, and it's just a story of a girl that has been mocked for being in a bottom in her life, and God just has a way of positioning those people at the top. God has a way of crowning people's efforts. I think there's something I need to point out on this topic. I think grace works a lot with hard work. Most of the time, 90% of the time, for everybody that has put in their best to do things, to pursue things, to even show up, even when you showing up countless of times, nothing has happened, but you just keep showing up, you just keep putting your best foot forward. Grace has a way of aligning for such people. So on today's episode, I'm not here to give long sermon. It's giving short. I just want to encourage you that when you speak about grace, you should also understand that it comes with a certain level of work. But even when people feel like, oh, you've not done enough, God will just position things for you. It's more like a prayer for this section. I'm here to tell you that in every phase of your life that you think is impossible, grace will speak for you. In every area of your life where you think that things will not fall into place, grace will speak for you. And that's on period. So I said, grace, grace, grace. This is our story. I remember when I was going through a lot, and I always used to follow Pastor Bolaji in the next level prayer, for those of us that know. And he just kept saying, grace, grace, grace. This is my story. And I just said it. I used to say it like because it's what Pastor Bolaji asked us to say. But I'm here to tell you that grace works. Grace has always been positioned in our lives, and we just need to appreciate God's effort. We just need to appreciate God's effort, and just keep pushing. I'm always an advocate of like always keep your best foot forward. You don't know when things will just happen, and you should be ready for such. Okay, guys, I think that's it on today's episode. Is there anything we're looking forward to? I don't know. Until my next episode, don't forget to stream this podcast on Anchor, Spotify, and on YouTube. Please don't forget to follow me across all social media platforms at Luchi on Facebook, on X, formerly Twitter, on Instagram. We also have a podcast page, AWL_podcast. Guys, we have a lot on our plate, so I'll be back fully next week. I always say let's spread love, because God is love. Love is God. Grace, grace, grace. This is your story. Okay, guys, I'm signing out. Have a blessed week. Bye.